Great thing about football, you play to win the game.
Coming at you live in the heart of Lincoln, America.
I said, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
On air and online at theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Jake Bakoven and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
This is the Ticket Water Cooler, starting a little bit late today, but glad to do so because we got to hear it from Chris Brown, the Husker legend, on the captain. Chris Brown, it's kind of cool. I don't like to fanboy too much, but
you were kind of fanboying a little bit?
Fanboying, because when I grew up, basically, I mean, Chris Brown was a 4-year starter, and when I was, like, growing up, initially got into football, it seems like those 4 years last a lot longer, like, or whatever time period it is when you're younger, and it just felt like, okay, that's the so I was kind of introduced to him. Okay, he's Nebraska's all-time leading scorer, and I just like, wow, that's incredible.
Amazing,
and it is. So
I mostly remember Chris Brown from his NFL days.
Yeah, absolutely. So. You're a little younger. Houston days, huh?
Yep, Houston.
Yeah. I liked his early days.
The only consistent. The best player for the Houston Texans. That was Chris Brown right there.
That's right. Hey, don't tell Jay Foreman that. He was pretty good all those years too. But lots to talk about as we open up the Ticket Water Cooler. But one thing kind of overshadows everything else, and that is the Nebraska quarterback situation. Mickey Joseph talked to the press today. Usually just does a few minutes on a Thursday, but today some actual news comes out of it, which is rare on Thursdays, to be honest. But we kind of knew that the timeline, the watch was on Casey Thompson this week. Mark Whipple said the other day he was practiced, didn't really throw too much. And today Mickey Joseph announced that Casey is officially out versus Michigan. So that 30-point spread will probably hold as far as entering the game. Nebraska's now got to decide between their backups. This was kind of figured all along. I was kind of hoping that Casey maybe was banged up enough. I don't want him to be banged up, but banged up enough. Maybe you didn't start him, but maybe an emergency situation, you can throw him in. But it looks like he's out in this case. And so it is going to be quite crazy a scene, I think, especially on Nebraska message boards and Twitter, if Chubba Purdy starts, considering the flack that Mark Whipple is kind of taking this week.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what quarterback they decide to trot out there. And I'm in agreement with you where, even if he couldn't start, I was really hoping that he was, healthy enough or injured just a little bit enough to get in case the game got close or in a special situation, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. He's going to be out for the game. You're going to get, Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers. And as you said, it's going to be really interesting if Chubba Purdy trots out for that first drive, considering all the flack that Mark Whipple's gotten these last 3 weeks, especially Illinois, Minnesota, and now this Michigan week, all the flack that Mark Whipple has been catching from the fans and the message boards and really everybody that wants to be involved with Husker football is not in awe, but wondering exactly what is going on the offensive side of the ball. It's a very strange situation where you have your head coach saying one thing, your offensive coordinator saying another, and it doesn't seem like they're on the same page, at least out in public. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know, if they are in agreement and they're just, saying these things, saying how they think, but behind closed doors, when they're talking to each other, they know exactly where the other one stands and they know what they're going to do going into this game. Because yesterday, I mean, you heard Mark Whipple talk about both quarterbacks having a great week of practice and still airing the ball out and scoring points and all that. And then today, Mickey Joseph said, against Michigan, especially without Casey Thompson, they want to focus on running the ball, focus on holding on to the ball in time of possession and bleeding the clock and keeping Michigan's offense off the field. But if you go back and listen to Mark Whipple the other day, I mean, it seems as if he's going to do what he's been doing and just try to score the ball. It doesn't matter if it takes a long time or if it takes, less than a minute. He's going to try and score the ball.
Well, and he also said that he'd be okay winning 3-2. So, again, some of this kind of gets narrative based and you can take the comments which way you want to. But as far as being on the same page, he wasn't on the same page with Scott Frost at the podium either. They would often contradict each other in what they were saying. And so it just feels like, and then again, I'm not, you kind of trying to diagnose this from the outside, but this was,
That's our job, Bach.
I know.
We're supposed to read into it.
And what I'm reading into it is this was, I've said this for a long time. They put together a package, right? With Scott Frost going into the CEO role, You bring in Mark Whipple, you bring in one of the top wide receiver coaches who now turned into the head coach, and Mickey Joseph. They put in enough of a package that I thought maybe this is worth a trial run, but it wouldn't be my first pick, going into a season on how to get things going. And I think maybe we're kind of seeing that here where you have Whipple. And, I don't want to make this too much ego based, but he's well established and just had his best year. It just always kind of felt like he was brought in like, okay, well, we're going to move Scott out of the way. Yeah, we're going to marry the offenses or whatever, but mostly it's going to be your offense, Whipple's offense.
Mm-hmm.
And now Mickey's kind of said the same thing. We're going to run Whipple's offense. And now people are getting upset that Whipple is running his offense, which is what the plan was all along. Now they're trying to adjust, and they're trying to, obviously without Casey Thompson, there's just such a drop off to ideally run Whipple's offense and pass the ball around the yard a little bit more, make some of the throws that he asks you to make. These guys just aren't there. Now, as far as them playing their best week of football, well, I would hope so, because they're not usually getting too many snaps unless they're, kind of getting into that starter role.
Mm-hmm.
And so, hopefully they are developing. Hopefully they are getting better. But it is a thing there where I think you might see, this game could get out of hand, at least to a degree, kind of getting to that point where you're down 21, whoever's starting. If Logan even starts, you're down 21. Maybe you make this switch at that time to Chubba Purdy. I don't know if that will help either, but I think you'll probably, again, they were saying this last week, not so much this week, is that you'll see two quarterbacks on the field. I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them get some drives.
Yeah, the thought surrounding, and definitely, well, hopefully not the team, is that that Nebraska is going to be down by a decent number, possibly pretty early against Michigan. And if that happens, you're going to have to air the ball out. It doesn't matter if you want to run the ball. Yeah. If you get down by 21, you're going to have to pass it. Unless, of course, you think Anthony Grant's going to break off 60-yard runs every time he gets the ball. You're going to have to pass the ball, and that's going to be something that kind of benefits Whipple's offensive play style, but you don't want to be down by that much and have to pass the ball, especially without the quarterback that you brought in with the strong arm to play into that offensive style. It's going to be really interesting. And the marriage of the two styles when Scott Frost was still here, I think that whole thing had some legs where it was, Scott Frost, although before at UCF, you believe that it was an explosive offense based on passing. There was a lot of running, the quarterback run, the option, RPOs, all of that stuff. It was a lot of running involved in that offense. So maybe there was a thought that even though he's in a CEO role, he'll still have his hands on the offense and still have some say within the offensive play calling. So there will be more running the ball. But when it comes to passing, with Mark Whipple's pedigree as a quarterback coach and pedigree as an offensive coordinator, and Mickey Joseph's pedigree as a wide receiver coach, the passing game would be much improved to go on top of, the hopeful breakout running game that they were planning on having, especially with Anthony Grant coming into the fold. But it didn't work out. Scott Frost is gone. Mark Whipple's in charge of the entire offense, and it looks as if they're going towards a more pass-happy offense. But if you look, and, people keep bringing up the Pat Narduzzi comment on the car show podcast thing that
that guy with his hat.
That happened before the season. Pat Narduzzi calling Mark Whipple stubborn and not wanting to run the ball and all that. If you go back to Pittsburgh stats from last season, they averaged 38 attempts passing per game and 37 rush attempts per game. So it was pretty 50-50. But for some reason or another, it's a lot more passes in this offense than running.
Well, and again, though, too, like last week, that's just not the case. I mean, they actually ran the ball more than they passed. The narrative takes over because you don't like the way that they're passing.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly, a lot of it's just you don't like the play calls. I think specifically,
and even with the play calls, there's people open. It's just not working.
Well, yeah, and that's part of it too. Is you've got quarterbacks that aren't seeing guys open, and when they do, the receivers drop it. I mean, it's just kind of a comedy of errors there. But some of the play calls that people hated the most last season or this past week was running plays on like 3rd and long, or just that didn't have a chance. So it's like sometimes it's not just the balance of rush and pass. Sometimes it's like the play calls throughout it. During the 6 3 and outs I've mentioned earlier, every one of those 3 and outs, they ran the ball at least once and sometimes twice.
For Mark Whipple, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're not going to pass it on the right down. You're not going to run it on the right down. So he's trying to figure out a balance, and depending on where the score sits, I think you're going to see a lot more running plays against Michigan just because of the quarterback situation and maybe what's going on with the quarterbacks. Although Mark Whipple did say that they, although people don't like hearing this, he said that both quarterbacks had their best week of practice this week.
Best week of practice.
That's the first time we've heard that from somebody not named Scott Frost. So maybe it's true.
Yeah, maybe it's different this time. Like I mentioned the other day, Whipple, part of the reason things are stacking up against Whipple now is 4 out of 6 games since Scott Frost has left, they haven't scored above 14. This might be another one of those games, unfortunately, with the defense are going up.
They have played tougher defenses since Scott Frost left.
They have played tougher defenses.
Since Scott Frost left, they've played tougher defenses.
Yes, but 14 points isn't a whole lot. It's
No,
hard
it
to
is
win
not.
almost any game. I don't care what defense you're playing.
Yeah, they won one of those, only scored 14.
They did win one of those games, so there is that too. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more Husker football talk. Going up against Michigan. Hey, it's 2:30 ABC kickoff, college football. I know you're not too hyped about it, but I'm still hyped about it. Let's do that coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh,
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Hey guys, Nick Sadert here, and I want to tell you about my friends at Spine and Sports Chiropractic. I experienced a herniated disc in my lower back a few years ago, and thanks to the folks at Spine and Sports, I got back to feeling 100%. At Spine and Sports, they use the active release technique, which involves the soft tissue and can alleviate headaches, shoulder pain, plantar fasciitis, and more. What I like most about the ART method is that your doctor will construct a plan that fits your needs because the technique is not a cookie-cutter approach. Allow Spine and Sports Chiropractic to help you feel better. Set up your appointment today by giving them a call at 402-261-6841.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
You spend a lot of time on your feet. At work, at the gym, on the golf course, it can be exhausting. Are your feet as comfortable as they could be? Brown Shoe Fit delivers all the sizes and widths that you can imagine and that most other stores can't compete with. If you're looking for a specific brand, they have it. New Balance, Brooks, Keen, Clarks, Echo, Rockport, Merrill, many more. All sizes, all widths. Stop trying to squeeze into your shoes and sacrificing comfort. Find your next pair of shoes for any endeavor at Brown's Shoe Fit, just south of 66 and Q in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Temperatures will be falling behind a strong cold front moving through this morning. There may be a few road showers, then eventually clearing as temps settle into the 40s by this afternoon. Northwest winds gusting over 30. Tonight mainly clear, low down to 19, and only a high tomorrow of around 36. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A good game with good friends. But isn't it time to up the score when it comes to the food? Wings and Rings is here for every football fan. Catch the game on one of their big screens or snag a tailgate pack to go. They're cranking up the heat and throwing in mad flavor this season. Stop by your locally owned Wings and Rings on O Street, Meridian Park, or 48th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village, or grab some crave-worthy Wings and Rings to go. Make them your go-to destination to watch your team bring home the win. Wings and Rings. Game time just got better.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and things are rocking in Louisville. We've got transport showing up every day with loads of new inventory, lots of new trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Our pre-owned inventory is also filling up fast. Our GMC Terrain inventory is really filling up fast, so we're putting special pricing on those right now. This is the time to check out our GMC Terrains, as we've got all models with a great selection of colors at a discounted price. So please stop in or Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Your Class A state football playoff coverage rolls on right here on 93.7 The Ticket. Hey guys, it's Mick Sainer. Join me this Friday night from Gretna High School for a semifinal matchup between the 11 seed Creighton Prep Junior Jays and the number 2 seed and undefeated Gretna Dragons. The Junior Jays come in off of an upset win against number 3 seed Elkhorn South last Friday night, while the Gretna Dragons were able to hold off the 7 seed Bellevue West Thunderbirds last week. Junior Jays running back and North Dakota State commit Charmar Brown has been able to rack up over 1,500 yards on the ground while finding the end zone 15 times in 2022. Oklahoma State quarterback commit Zane Flores continues to lead the Dragons with 27 touchdown passes on the year compared to only 3 interceptions. Kickoff is slated for 7 p.m. on Friday night, and you can hear all the action unfold right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Another packed fall sports season means it's time to get to N Street Drive-In to fill up on all your beverage needs. For November, they have tons of fall seasonals, and you can check out their Oscar Blues, Nebraska Brewing Company, and Broken Bat Brewing Company selections as their beers of the month. Also, make sure to download the new N Street Drive-In app to order online and to set up delivery right to your front door. And don't forget their top-notch Crowler fill system. N Street Drive-In, your one-stop beverage stop at 1801 O Street.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC is great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, then make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Wingstop on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rock it out here once again on the Ticket Water Cooler. We're good. I've never asked you. Did you ever join a rock band?
No.
No.
I was in band.
What'd you play?
Percussion. They don't want you to say drums because there's a bunch of other stuff. So
okay.
I was a percussionist.
I was going to say, I was confused what that means.
Also, Jay Foreman texted in after I said that Chris Brown was the best player on the Houston Texans, and he just said, "Oh, okay, Rico." So
I told you, Jay was pretty
I
good
replied.
there.
I said, I mean, there was also Andre Johnson.
Well,
so,
Andre Johnson was pretty good, too.
1 and 2.
That was kind of cool, too, because a lot of those former Huskers went back there. Unfortunately, that was one of the worst NFL free agency signings still to this day is Amon Green to the Texans because he just didn't work out there coming over from being the all-time leading rusher at Green Bay. But when him and Jay and Chris Brown were all there, I mean, that was kind of cool. And I don't know if
Houston
it was
Huskers.
I have to remember the exact same time, but it was like the new franchise is going leaning heavy Huskers. Let's do it, baby.
It was like, yeah, everyone is a Houston Texans fan. and then no.
And then after a few years, you're like, never mind.
They're all gone now.
David Carr got murdered.
That didn't work out too well for him.
No.
But like I said, he had Andre Johnson. Oh, goodness gracious. Jay said, I'll see you later. All right, everyone. I need to write my will.
Yeah, you need to get a bubble suit on or something. You might be in trouble. As we mentioned, kind of the news of the day, Casey Thompson is officially out versus Michigan. Something else that I'm kind of interested in it's not, I wouldn't take this personally if you're Nebraska. Obviously, Nebraska is in a very difficult spot to be in, and we kind of all know just kind of what the case is, being a 30.5-point underdogs. But Michigan seems to, I think one glimmer of hope means to me that Michigan might be overlooking Nebraska. Now,
you think so? Who do they have next?
They have Illinois and Ohio State, but I think they're overlooking Illinois too, because here's
2 trap games.
Right. Here's Blake Corum. This was on the Zach Gelb show on CBS Sports Radio. I'll just read it off on the clip here. It says, talking about the Ohio State game, it's going to be a game that determines which team goes. So he's already saying that.
Uh-oh.
But before we get there, we have to take care of Nebraska. We have to take care of Illinois. Those are 2 great teams. Great. I don't know about that. When the times comes, we shall see. He repeated again, the last game is going to be one everyone will remember.
Maybe overlooking Nebraska
That
a
sounds
little
like
bit.
you're overlooking Nebraska.
I know that Harbaugh was only asked one question about Nebraska
Yeah.
during his presser.
Harbaugh's
so.
not talking about Nebraska. And then here, Harbaugh was on his Tuesday night radio program. The Michigan Insider quoted this: 18 days through Ohio State and then 25 days through the Big Ten Championship. Sounds like they're looking ahead.
Perfect. Perfect.
But what I like about Michigan is like they've been able to do this. Like they had an open quarterback competition through their first 3 games. They did not respect their first opponents either.
Did they have an open quarterback competition?
Cade McNamara started a game.
Okay.
JJ started a game.
Yeah, that's true. But they started JJ against Hawaii.
They did.
They knew what they were doing. Those stats didn't matter.
They might have had a heavy lean.
They knew exactly what they were going to do. Also, Cade McNamara got surgery, so
yeah, he's out.
He's not going to be the backup.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying to hurt anybody, but if their starting quarterback goes out, you'll see a third stringer. Not like that means much, apparently. even though Minnesota named their backup their starter for this next game.
Did they? Who's Minnesota got this week?
Not a clue.
They're moving on from Tanner Morgan.
Oh, they have whoever Nebraska play Northwestern.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good time to make a switch.
Because they're talking about, the Nebraska curse that lives on with every team that beats Nebraska, doesn't win the next week. So they're saying, Minnesota's going to lose to Northwestern, who hasn't won since they beat Nebraska in week 0. So this is Nebraska curse versus Nebraska curse. What's going to happen? Who's going to break first?
I kind of hope that, and I don't.
You want Northwestern to get another win?
No, the exact opposite. I kind of hope Northwestern goes just with their one win.
No, I want Northwestern to have one more win, so it's not just Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm just going to call the Minnesota quarterback Zach Galifianakis because that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, what's his last name again?
Alan Kaliakmanis.
Kaliakmanis.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I couldn't
slow it down. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
But I still like Zach Galifianakis a little bit more. But we'll see. I mean, that's interesting.
Perfect.
That's Morgan's had that job for so long now.
12 years.
That is definitely 12 years.
I'm pretty sure he was throwing passes against Nebraska back in the 90s.
Yeah, I have to look it up. He probably was.
I don't know
if
Minnesota
like
played Nebraska in the 90s.
No, I don't think there are many problems with that quote. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll wrap things up. One thing to pay attention to this week: Auburn and Texas A&M is sold out.
Where is it?
I believe it is. I'll have to look it up. I think it's at Auburn. Both teams are 3-6. Would a loss to Auburn end things for Jimbo?
I have too much money.
It's a lot of money.
There's too much money.
But Auburn has an interim coach. They're 3-6. That's really bad.
I don't know. I mean, if you lose, that's a lot of money, dude.
It's a lot of money. We'll take a quick break, wrap things up for the Ticket Water Cooler. Make way for the happy hour coming up next year. Final segment of the Ticket Water Cooler.
Crazy. Life-changing research doesn't just take place in outer space. It's also happening right in Nebraska, and you could play a key role. Solarion, one of the world's leading clinical research organizations, needs healthy adults who are 19 years old and older for a research opportunity. If you qualify, you can earn up to $500 a day for time and travel. Overnight stays may be required. To learn more, call Solarion at 866-213-2965 or visit helpresearch.com/500.
It's tailgate season. Why would you bounce around from place to place for all your beverage needs when you have it all in one place? Wine, Beer, and Spirits has everything for your parties with their 3 locations in Lincoln, Grand Island, and Omaha. It's the largest liquor store in the state, and here's the best part. You can get a drink from their bar and walk around with it as you shop for all your tailgate necessities. Locally owned and operated, it's Wine, Beer, and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, ski, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefit packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and things are rocking in Louisville. We've got transport showing up every day with loads of new inventory, lots of new trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. Our pre-inventory is also filling up fast. Our GMC Terrain inventory is really filling up fast, so we're putting special pricing on those right now. This is the time to check out our GMC Terrains, as we've got all models with great selection of colors at a discounted price. So please stop in or check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
At Venue Catering and Events, we offer two of the most historic ballrooms in Lincoln. The Jasmine Room, located in the historic Grand Manse in the heart of downtown, featuring a beautiful built-in antique bar, spacious patio, and soaring skylit ceilings. The Scottish Rite Ballroom, located just 2 blocks from the state's capital, boasts intricate hand-carved columns, rich dark wood floors, and lavish chandeliers. The perfect venues to host your wedding, corporate event, or much more. For availability and more information, call us at 402-603-6483.
The Heartland Diamond from Sartor Heyman Jewelers was born from an unrelenting desire for more sparkle, designed to shine as bright as your love. The difference between the Heartland and the traditional cut is clearly visible with the naked eye. By adding 32 additional facets, our skilled craftsmen have created a masterpiece, a diamond that truly reflects your passion and desire. Stop in and see the brilliance of the Heartland Diamond for yourself, exclusively at Sartor Heyman Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition since 1905.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 9th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
The Empire brand is growing with ESC fabrication and sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum and stainless steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC has great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today at 531-207-9329.
Back to the Ticket Water Cooler, brought to you by Wingstop, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Guarantee.
We have a guarantee.
Guarantee. Then I won't say it out loud.
Rico, you have a guarantee. We've made
Yeah,
it.
I have a guarantee, but I can't say it out loud because everybody
can't.
thinks that I'm a curse.
No, go ahead and say it. I've cursed the program enough.
I said it doesn't matter who the head coach is next year. I guarantee they go 500 or better.
That's quite a guarantee. They might be coming off 2 straight 3-9 seasons.
Don't care who the head coach is next year. Don't care. Doesn't matter.
What if it's me?
I think you'll do a good job.
You think I'll go 6-6?
Yeah, I think you are smart enough to know that you don't know everything, and you'll surround yourself with very knowledgeable very knowledgeable assistant coaches.
Oh, I would.
See,
I'm a good candidate.
See? I trust you.
I wouldn't really add much to the table, to be honest.
I
could be the CEO role.
I believe in you.
Yeah, thank you.
With the transfer portal, and if Mickey Joseph stays on, if he's not the head coach or if he is the head coach, his ability to bring people together and rally the troops and recruit, I think he'll do a good job.
If they just bring me around practice just to meander and can continue just to tell them how Big Ten football is won, I think eventually
they'll figure it out.
They'll start winning.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we'll see. Nebraska obviously up against it here against Michigan. Nebraska basketball playing tonight against Omaha, formerly known as UNO, the Mavs.
They don't want to be called UNO anymore. They're Omaha.
Which is good. I think that's good for national branding. You hear UNO, you're just like, I don't know what that is.
You're like, oh, the card game?
Yeah. Oh, I love that game. But you hear Omaha, it's like, oh, I know that.
I know that.
That's
where the zoo is.
Yeah, that's where the zoo is.
That's what the men's college world series is. I know that place.
I hope people know Omaha for that.
Shout out to the Mavs. Shout out to Frankie Fiddler.
Oh yeah,
dude's a walking bucket.
I hope not too much tonight. Expecting to see Derek Walker out there tonight?
No.
I
don't think we see Derek Walker until November 10th, December.
Do you think we'll ever learn what's ailing Derek Walker?
No.
Unless
he decides to talk about it, but I don't. Because look, Fred's not going to talk believe it. None of the players are going to talk about it, unless Derek just when he shows up is just like, yeah, this is why I was gone.
Yeah.
I believe that if nobody else is going to talk about it, I don't think he's gonna feel the need to tell anybody.
I don't think he needs to.
He's just gonna be like, "Look, I was gone. I'm back. There you go."
So, I don't think he really needs to.
No.
He'll be like, all right, Derek Walker's back.
He'll be all right. Oh, he's back and he's playing well and he's helping Nebraska. Cool. I don't need to know why he was gone.
Nebraska too, obviously. This would be, they're favored. They're supposed to beat Omaha. This would be points? Quite an ugly loss if you lose this one.
Hey, they hung tough with Kansas. They're not a bad team.
I understand,
but also don't lose.
But you can't become the third program in the state. You're clearly the second program in the state.
Didn't even think about that.
The other a tough look.
The 3 Division I programs, and if you lose to Omaha, no bueno.
No,
unless you lose to Omaha, then you beat Creighton.
Oh yeah, then you're number 1.
Then
you're number 2.
Does that move you up to 2? Does Omaha play Creighton this year? Need to figure that out.
They should. They should play every year.
They definitely should.
Yeah.
That would be wild. What if Omaha becomes the best team?
Oh man.
And by becomes, I mean they just beat Nebraska and Creighton one random year.
I don't think that they're going to be better than anybody. I do think that there's a chance. They almost made the tournament a few years ago. I think there is a slimmer of a chance they could win a tournament game before Nebraska.
Summit League.
Like they win the Summit League and then go get an upset.
Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. What did you just say?
They could win a tournament game before Nebraska. I don't think they'll be a better program. I think they could win a tournament game before Nebraska.
You good?
I'm telling you, they almost.
You're a Nebraska basketball fan.
I am a Nebraska basketball fan, and so what do I know about Nebraska basketball? They've never won a tournament game.
I get that. You think Omaha has a chance at winning one before? First off, they have to win their conference because they're not getting in with an at-large bid.
Right.
So they have to win the Summit League, which has teams like South Dakota State, North Dakota State.
They've got a long way to go.
Other teams that I can't think of.
Rico, this doesn't have to be like a 5-year projection. I can go 30 years out in Nebraska.
And you don't think Nebraska will win a tournament game?
I've been waiting for 30 years already. I've already waited for 30 years. I'm 32 years old. I haven't won a tournament game.
Yeah, but this is a different 30 years.
This is going to be different.
This is a new 30 years.
I know. I'm hopeful. I'm just saying that will be an ugly day in Nebraska basketball history if Omaha wins a tournament game before Nebraska, and I think it could happen.
Wow.
Based on my my just low self-esteem as a Nebraska basketball fan, I guess.
I can hear Nick whistling.
I can hear Nick whistling too. I had his mic on.
That was weird.
Wow, we can hear it through.
Yeah, I was like, what is that whistling? It was you.
Nick's whistle means Nick wants to be on air, so we'll get Nick on air.
Omaha's not. No, I know that
right.
You're looking way future, but no, that was wild. That was a wild.
That's
statement.
a crazy statement.
That was crazier than what I said.
Well, you could come to the Ticket Water Cooler for some crazy statements. That could always be some
that's
fun.
true.
Hopefully you join this lunch hour with us. Reminder, Wingstop. Head on down to Wingstop. They are our sponsor. We thank them every day. Happy hour coming up next with Rico and Nick. So stay tuned for that just after these short messages.